Okay, let's start with the Siberian hitch, because it is probably the first knot that you'll need when you set up your tarp. We put the rope around the tree and make sure that we have about 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters of rope left on the short end. We put both ends around our hand, then turn it round and point your fingers down and up so that you basically move a loop around the long end. You can then pick up the short end between your fingers and draw it through the loop. The knot you have here is the Siberian hitch. It's a very, very useful knot for doing a lot of things, but I use it mostly for tying off the center line of the tarp to a tree. Many people use it also for hanging up their hammock. In the case of a hammock, and you feel insecure about it holding your weight, you can make this knot even more secure than it already is by diminishing this loop and put a locking loop through that one, like this. You can then tighten this knot and put it around the tree. This will not come loose. It has the added benefit that it is a quick release knot, like most of the knots I use personally. You just pull on this and it's loose. Okay, the next knot is the tarp hitch. It is used to tension the center line of your tarp. This line is already anchored on a tree over there using the Siberian hitch, which I showed you earlier. The best thing to do is to already have a little bit of tension on this line when you wrap it around the tree. The bark of the tree usually grips your rope, so you don't have to have a lot of force here. It is fairly anchored around this tree already. I move it back over the center line, and that creates a loop that picks up the center line that now can be used to put a really good tension on it by pulling it back. You now see that this is very, very tight. What I now have to do is to secure this line to the center line, and that is usually done with a normal half hitch, like so. But instead of now pulling it back, I am actually going to reduce the loop of my half hitch and put a locking loop through it. And then you can just tighten it. I have to do that because I'm using a fairly thin rope, and the normal half hitch would just slip around here. So now this is very, very tight, and like most of the other knots that I use, this is also a quick release knot, so you can just pull it and remove it. Okay, I will now show you a different way of tensioning the tarp center line with a fairly interesting knot that is called a trucker's hitch. It works that in this way that you create a loop. I'm sorry, I have moved out of cam. You have a little loop like this, and then the remaining piece you wind round the tree and thread through the loop that you just created. Now you see now that you have here a perfect way of tensioning your rope by just pulling this. This is now a really tight rope, and because there is always some elasticity in the rope, you can very easily pull it a bit and lock it off with a half hitch. This will not come loose because of the tension. The tension of the cord now also locks the half hitch in that place. This rope is this knot is very interesting because of a very nice feature of this. I remove it, you see it's quick release. What you can do is you can turn it around the tree once more and also thread it through the loop once more. What you have now created is a pulley system. When I now pull it, I have twice as much force on the line than with the same amount of force that I had before. If I now pull it, it's even tighter. And not only that, the mechanics of this knot now are so tight here, they cause the ropes to lock. So you can actually pull, rest and pull again. You can also do this once more, creating even more force. If I would do that, I would actually have the danger of breaking the rope. You would just simply lock this for safety, of course, because it can slip, with a half hitch. Now, if you really want a very, very tight line, this is a good way. It's called a trucker's hitch, just because of this. It's used to tie goods to a truck. Using this pulley system, I will later show you very interesting applications for that. It's of course also quick release. You might think that this won't come off, but you just have to pull quite hard and it's gone.